and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. A couple dates before we get started. Saturday, February 15th, I'm going to be at the Hollywood Improv with Jay Moore. Buy tickets at www.hollywood.improv.com. And then April 21st, it's a nice 2-month gap, but I'm filming a movie. But I'm going to be headlining the Irvine Improv April 21st, Tuesday. Buy tickets at www.irvine.improv.com. With me, as always, is my trusty sidekick, Alan Lee.
As trusty as you can be, since, I do nothing with my life.
Yeah, he just stalks me around. And then with us, I have a great intro of our guest. You've seen him on The Real Wedding Crashers, Marin. He's a writer and producer for Arrested Development. He's the co-host of the famous podcast Dolly Pop. And he just released his first 1-hour special, Riddle with Disease, on Comedy Dynamics. Please welcome Gareth Reynolds.
Hi, everybody.
How was that introduction?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good. You got the name of the podcast right, which I like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Dolly Pop.
Do a lot of people mess it up?
A lot of people call it Dollop. And
Really?
I'm always like, God, that's not the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, get it right. Yeah.
Well, I do have a speech problem, so that probably would be me. Like, maybe I just said it.
Hey,
right
if you
first.
add Y's into things, that's your thing.
Even though they're spelled with I's, right?
Sure. Exactly.
They got the vowels. I also wanted to mention your stand-up dates real fast, and I'll mention them again at the show. But this weekend, tomorrow through Sunday, you're going to be at the Irvine Improv.
Yep.
You're going to be headlining that. And then in late February 27th through March 1st, you're going to be at Rooster Tea Feathers.
Yep.
I don't know where that is. I just saw
I
that.
barely know. It's in Sun Valley.
Sun Valley. Oh.
Yeah, California.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to do the April date because you're filming a movie.
So busy.
April 21st through April 26th at the Denver Improv.
Is that can't be the next date after that.
I just did a quick jump.
Oh, okay. And then if you want to go see the Dollop, the Dolly Pop, the Dollop's on tour, and you can go to Dollop Podcast.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention you, though.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because
that's nice.
I know what I'm doing.
Thank you, Reza.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for doing the show, man.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
You just got back from Australia, right?
I did, yeah, on Sunday.
How was that like?
It was good. It was great. Yeah, I toured all the big cities in 2 weeks and a lot of fires. And but it was great. It's a lot of fun.
Was that your first time in Australia?
No, we've been going there for the podcast probably for about 5-ish years.
Wow.
And then this is my first time solo touring, though, on stand-up. Yes.
Well, now what's that like? Like, what's different from like touring with the podcast where you have your sidekick, but then going by yourself? Like, is it a different atmosphere?
Well, yeah. The podcast shows are bigger venues.
Yeah.
And then it's also, as I'm sure you know, like traveling alone is different than traveling with someone. Like when you're on the road with someone, it is nice to be like, hey, my buddy, want to get lunch or something like that? It's a little weirder when you're kind of on your own, but I also don't mind it. Yeah. But Dave and I have a good time, so it's like, I liked that part of it. But I have friends over there, so we hung out and stuff. And it's pretty breakneck, so it's not like you're hanging out too much.
See, that's a great relationship because people always say like we should do Reza riffs on the road, and it's like, no, I don't really like this guy.
The problem's Keith. I get that.
See, that's sure.
I get that.
Tough. There's a lot of tension.
Yeah.
You could just hire a local Keith.
Yeah.
Just put it on Craigslist.
You take my place.
Yeah.
Gareth is a new psychic.
Like, you should see his driving when he drives us here.
Please.
Oh my god.
My driving.
Yeah, he's like speed racer.
Oh,
please.
Yeah.
Did you take issue with that?
No, I don't. I am speed racer.
Okay. That's a good part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the series.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie?
A lot of people say the movie's the best part of the whole idea.
Oh,
It's
really?
really good. It's very good. And for those of you who are like, no, it's not, I've watched it. Watch it again.
Oh, really?
The whole thing. One more time.
I will.
Yeah. And a couple times if you don't believe it. Watch it 4 or 5 times until it really sinks in how good it is.
See, I feel like you're fucking with me.
No, I'm just saying, watch the movie Speed Racer about 10 times and make sure you love it because it's really good. It's one of those movies that gets worse until you hit about 10.
Yeah.
And then the 10th time you go, holy shit, I cracked the nut.
So it's kind of like Cats.
It's a lot like Cats.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a lot like Cats, which you got to watch 30 times before you break the threshold.
I saw Cats with my grandmother, and it was the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's the best movie to make jokes about.
What did she think of it?
I think she fell asleep or she died in the middle of it.
It's nice to cross generations with the crap, right? To be like, I hated it, and my grandma was also disaffected. This is such a nice, what a bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the best to like tell jokes because like I suffer from depression, you know, and I've tried killing myself before, but I realize the next time I want to do it, I'm just going to watch Cats.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and go, there is a bottom, and I haven't hit it.
One more.
I also think that I haven't seen it, but I can't. That's up top of the list movies that I want to be on mushrooms while watching.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Like,
So I'm saving myself for that.
the guy who, when he sold me a ticket, he should have said, hey, do you want some LSD?
And for an extra $10, we'll give you a little bag of fungus. You get a free popcorn and a bag of fungus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a deal.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So a little about you. You like we have a lot in common. I don't think you realize this. But
I don't.
We're gonna get down to the facts.
Hot.
Like you're from Wisconsin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've been to Wisconsin.
That's right there. I mean, name one difference between us
Oh, I don't know.
besides
but-
cats.
The cheese.
Yeah, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cheese.
The cheese, exactly.
And the beer.
And the beer. You hit the big two. Yeah.
Which one's more like popular in Wisconsin, cheese or beer?
They're both shockingly popular, but
Extremely.
beer is still
Wins.
beer's the king.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because my biological father lives in Wisconsin. I went to go visit him, and like everywhere he took me, he's like, "We should try the cheese." I was like,
Really?
yeah. I was like,
The cheese curds are really big.
yeah.
Cheese curds are like Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, people eat cheese curds, and I don't eat cheese anymore. But even when I did, I didn't really eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
But I would still, like, people would give me cheese curds, and I'd be like, oh, I'll take it back for my friend, and then I'd get drunk on the road and be like, fuck it, just peel the bag open and just hammer some jalapeno cheese
Oh,
curds.
Sounds good.
Well,
They're very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wondered if the clubs in Wisconsin, like, you know how they have a 2-drink minimum? If
Yeah.
there's a 2-cheese minimum.
That is.
Oh,
By the way,
really?
save it for the road.
Oh.
That's a great local humor will kill.
Oh,
Go to
really?
Laughing Tap. Yeah, you'll
Oh,
kill.
awesome.
Yeah.
Man. 2 cheese minimum.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take a cheesecake and a Cheetos.
Your cheese light,
Oh, cheese
know?
light. That's a good one. But,
cheese genuine draft. Could keep going.
do those mix well, though?
You know, beer and cheese soup is considered a regular thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, they do, and beer and cheese soup's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that does sound good.
So they do mix.
Yeah.
They do mix.
Yeah.
Probably not the best mix as far as
Yeah.
opening your stomach, but
But, like, if you were to eat that here, you'd be considered weird. And there
Yes.
you'd be considered, like, Zac Efron.
well, but they like the way that they look at me when I go back to that I'm weird. Like
Yeah.
I'm the alien figure. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, for sure. On many reasons, but among them that I'm like, oh, I don't eat cheese.
Yeah.
I don't eat meat. So they're like, don't know what to give you. You know,
Now, I have a quick question on the Dolly podcast.
Dolly?
Dolly. Yeah, I said it right on the intro, and now I'm screwing it up.
dollop,
Dollop
Yeah.
podcast.
dollop.
So you got in my head. No?
You know, there's a teacher I had once who I convinced him my name was Sam.
Oh, did you?
And then he found out my name was Gareth, and I would see him for years after, and the look on his face where he was just like, I don't know what this guy's name is anymore. Like he just didn't know anymore. He was like, he'd go, hey Sam, and I'd correct him every time, and he'd be like, his mind was bending,
Yeah.
and his name was Mr. Genius,
Oh,
and
really?
he couldn't wrap his head around that. Yeah.
Oh, it's weird that people actually have names like Mr. Genius because I had a history teacher named Miss Moron.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And,
tough.
You know, for a history teacher, she was kind of a moron.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you don't do it.
But like, see, but see, like one of the things is I have Asperger's, so like I'm very like into history. Like that's one of my 3 fascinations. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So that's another thing. Like I know you don't really like
You know, he
history, but
loves
you're on a history podcast.
I like history.
He likes
I just don't know anything about history.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about history. I was impressed.
Oh, thank you. Well, you must have misheard my voice, I think.
I was having cheese.
Oh, there you go. That's what it
cheese.
was. No, yeah. Was I like an apparition?
No.
Oh, okay.
For still.
You might have been in a cheese hallucination, which
Yes,
happened.
it could. It can
does
happen.
happen.
It can
If it was
happen.
too much American, that'll happen.
There you go. I didn't go to that level yet.
Yeah.
Now on the I'm gonna screw this up again on the Dollop podcast. See, I'll get it right the 5th time.
There you go.
On the Dollop podcast, would you consider yourself the sidekick or the main guy?
I would not. In my opinion, I would say that neither one of us is that
Yeah.
role. It seems pretty shared.
That's nice.
I'm certainly in the student chair, so
Yeah.
I think if you go by sort of general dynamics, you would consider that to be the lower status person on the show.
Right.
But I think I also have such autonomy to say whatever I want, whenever I want, and just go crazy.
Well, the reason why I brought that up is because on the way over here we were driving, and then Alan's like, "Oh, I like Gareth. He's a student like me."
Yeah, see, Alan, the same people.
I don't actually recall phrasing it that way. But then again, what can I recall, right? I'm still working to the American cheese.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. You'll get there. Smoke it.
Oh,
Yeah, put it in a bowl. Yeah.
And you two have a lot in common too, because you're both improv geniuses.
Oh, there we go.
We're talking about the word
Yeah.
genius.
Oh, nice.
So,
Genius.
yeah. What's your favorite improv game?
Improv game? Shit.
That's a
I mean, I
hard
haven't
one.
done games in years.
Myself.
I know nothing about improv, so I'm fascinated.
There was a game I used to really like called Pavlov's Response, where you would basically, it took forever to set up, but you would basically like send everyone out of the room except for one person, and then for that one person who's left, you go, okay, every time that Reza touches his head, what's Gareth going to do? In the audience would be like, grab his dick. And it's like, okay, every time Reza touches his head, Gareth's going to grab his dick. Then I don't tell anyone. Then I leave, and then another person comes in, and you go, okay, what is this person going to do? You go, every time someone says they shriek. And then so you're like, okay, every time someone says they shriek. And you kind of set it up like that. So then everybody does a scene together, and nobody knows the tick for the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to sort of figure out what the other's thing is. So it's very kind of...
What's the fastest you've figured out someone's thing?
Oh, I don't remember being very fast or figuring them all out ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be very slow at that.
Yeah, it was hard. It was a very hard game. You'd pick up some stuff because some stuff would be so obvious. But that was always a game where I was like, felt like a little less traditional than a lot of like improv games. So I like that one. Yeah.
I always thought like it's kind of like comedians who do impressions. You know what I mean? And like you don't know the guy they're doing an impression.
Right.
Oh, that's not
Like a guy
Yeah.
does an impression of Rich Little at a club. I'm like,
That still plays.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I know who he is, but my 8-year-old doesn't.
Also, how hard is it
Generation.
how hard is it to do Rich Little? People are like, Rich Little talked like Johnny Carson for his whole
Yeah,
life. I don't know what Rich Little sounds like anymore.
That's right. It's either or.
You just shake Rich Little and you go, who are you really, Rich?
It's Johnny Carson.
Who the hell are you?
Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
You ever like be interviewed by somebody where like they'll compliment you and then like you just know like with their story that they're about to say it's just full of crap what they're saying. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like that they're...
like
It's an
they'd be
improv
like
exercise.
no, yeah, this is like an improv exercise.
Oh, it's an improv game. All right, Alan, I get you.
See, improv. Genius.
Yeah.
But like, say like you tell a story about your podcast and you tell a interesting fact, and then they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember I read that in history class." Or
Oh, yeah.
and they fucking didn't. You know what I
Well,
mean?
one of the things that's great about our show is that like it does not shock people when I don't know things. So I'm pretty free to be like, yeah, I didn't know that, whatever. I mean, I've learned so many things on the air at this point that, yeah.
Yeah. So what's like your number one thing that you know from that? Because it seems like I listened to a couple episodes. It seems like you're actually learning, although you're also making jokes.
Yeah,
That's
the in a way, it is like how you would separate your mind for that improv game I was talking about a little bit.
Oh,
That is
okay.
sort of the way, what I try to do is like very much hear the story, but then also process it in a comedic way and find, funny things to say. I mean, I've learned so much, it's hard to even encapsulate. I mean, I've like the idea that like the story of Harriet Tubman is so much more interesting. It was like nice to see they made a movie about her finally because
Yeah.
for so long to me, I mean, I knew who she was, but I just didn't know how badass she was.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about our government, how fucked it is, but then there's also crazy stuff like when I learned on air, and it's actually one of the opening bits on my album is like I learned Benjamin Franklin was not a president on the show, and so I was like, yeah,
No, go ahead.
You got that on your list?
Yes.
Yeah. Alan just held up his list like I was Santa going like Red Ryder BB gun.
I was so impressed. He's a psychic.
But
I like that.
Ben Franklin, I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even remember what our conversation was,
Sure.
but Dave mentioned him, and then I just affirmed his presidency, to which Dave said, no, he was never president.
He was
I
an inventor.
He was an inventor, which I still knew,
Yeah.
much like I knew other things about presidents, but I didn't. I just had assumed that Benjamin Franklin. He's on the 100. I mean, it's all on my album. I'm very emphatic about it. He should be.
Where can folks buy your album since we're playing?
You can go to my website, GarethReynolds.com, and there's a bunch of places you can choose from there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to avoid Amazon, it's pretty easy.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Gareth,
I would say don't. I would say use Amazon last. That would be my advice.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because otherwise Jeff Bezos is going to get all the money, and then he's going to control all of our food and our publications, and then eventually our water, and then eventually we're going to be like, Jeff, I'll suck your dick for a thimble of H2O.
That's actually great advice because I just filmed my 1 hour special. I'm trying to sell it, so I know not to do Amazon.
Well, you can't. Again, when it came to, if there were no buyers and Amazon was the only one for an hour special, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Gareth, you're going to love this along the same line that we were talking about.
Sure.
And that is, you may not be aware of, Larry Flint, the owner of Hustler magazine. I moved toward.
He was never president either.
No, he wasn't. Thank
No,
God. But he's a freedom of speech for us.
Indeed, Larry. Yeah.
But Larry Flint wrote this book. It's called One Nation Under Sex, and in it he lists all the characters that we've grown up with in the history books, and he analyzes how incredibly driven they were by sex. And Benjamin Franklin, he could not keep his pants on.
No, and they found, I think, in his house, in Benjamin Franklin's house, he buried, like he would actively have his way with his slaves, and then bury.
I didn't read that part. Go on.
Well, again, what do I know? I thought he was a president, so don't listen to me on Ben Franklin history. But then they found a bunch of bones in his basement and shit. So he was like,
oh really?
I think so. Yeah, he was like a freaky fucker.
I didn't get to that part of the book.
Yeah, no,
that's awful.
That
But Wilson,
and that he tied the string that he discovered electricity to around his cock end.
Oh,
a lot of people. Alan.
Oh, wow!
Breaking news. That just happened.
Why people tune in? No, really, that's amazing. God, that must have hurt.
It hurt, and that's how he knew he was onto something. Yeah, when he charged his phone through his pecker, he was like, this might be a thing.
Oh my God! Well, thank you,
thank you,
and thank you,
Founding
Larry.
fathers. Man.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's what they were called founding fathers.
That's right.
They had a lot of kids everywhere.
A lot of people also think George Washington's teeth were made out of wood.
Yeah, that was a startling. We did 2 on George Washington.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, how his mouth being a hall of horrors was the first installment, which is probably the more shocking of the 2 episodes because it really is like the lengths he went to get horse teeth for himself was. It's like how celebrities get heroin.
Ivory.
Well, it was a multitude of, they kitchen sinked his mouth. They threw anything they could into it. And then the second one was about how he died, which was basically he had pneumonia, and it was the amount of people coming over to let his blood, which eventually they just drained him of blood, essentially. Because letting was in vogue.
Yeah. They didn't have
that was medieval. There was a sketch on Saturday Night Live with... remember the medieval
He was like, years ago we used to think that there was a dinosaur living in your belly, but now modern medicine has told us it's a room of trolls, and they're
Well, because Rich Lil told me he and George used to go out for drinks all the time.
Who did he say it as, though?
I don't know. That's just how old
Did
Rich
he do
Little
George
is.
Washington?
Oh, yeah.
No.
You might have done him.
It's hard to invalidate his characterization.
There is one interesting thing I do know about George Washington. You may or may not know this, but they say that the average person lies once every 10 minutes. And the reason why George Washington's nickname is I Cannot Tell a Lie is because he barely talked. He probably talked like 10 minutes a day.
That's actually probably really true.
So that's why they say.
It's funny you say that. A new bit I've been working on is about lying, and I didn't know it was that voluminous. Is that really every 10 minutes? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the average.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I have Asperger's, so everything I say is true.
Yeah. What a curse.
But this guy.
Wow. I've heard everything now.
Yeah.
This guy will take things I say and twist it around.
I do. It takes a lot of twisting.
Yeah.
Sorry. But George Washington had quite a temper. He would scream. He would scream at the top of his lungs
because he was getting horse teeth banged into his gums daily whenever he tried to eat mush.
That might have been it.
Yeah,
that's true.
I cannot tell a lie, but I'm a fucking dick.
Oh my! right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man! And then like another thing, like John Adams, who was the second president, he wasn't very sexual. You know what I mean? So everyone thought like he
was kind of.
He was kind of
He's
weird.
not in the book.
But back in that day, if you weren't sexual, like everyone feels. I mean, it feels like sex was such a taboo at the time anyway.
Far
that like
from true.
It was not in general public.
Just pumping it around, man.
But in what way? Like it was still wasn't it? It still religiously was frowned upon and shit.
It
right?
was,
Well,
and
it
that
was
made
weird
it made
'cause he
it
had, like,
worse.
5
It's like when they
kids.
tell you not to do something,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you do it a lot.
Right. Well, they still do that with sex.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, okay, I get it. I mean, I know there's a lot of fucking going on, but it's like,
Listen,
yeah.
they were fucking their brains out in the colonial period. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this guy knows. Rich Little told him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's
Everyone
call
was
Rich.
banging.
Call in, Rich.
Rich probably doesn't even remember who I am if we did call
Well,
him, and he'd be like, "Oh, hey, Carson."
Yeah. Ed, are we doing the show? Yeah.
If you could bring back one person, living or dead, from history, who would you bring back into?
It'd be great to bring a living person back.
Oh, that's true.
That would be interesting.
Judd Reinhold.
So a lot of performers want to come back.
That's tough.
It doesn't have to be a president. It could be.
No,
like,
no. I'm just thinking. I'm mainly thinking through our podcast who I would bring back.
Have you ever been asked that question?
No,
Oh my God!
No.
Sweet.
no. I mean, if I could have lunch with anyone living or dead, I would do it with Gandhi because he wouldn't be able to eat and he'd just watch me the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be an interesting lunch. That's a very hard question to answer. Let me think, and I'll give you an answer by the end of the
It's
show.
very tough.
Just don't say Marilyn Monroe because I have my grandma's phone number and she insists she's Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, well, I'm leaning towards her now.
I was gonna be like, "Hey, Marilyn, I met."
Yeah. You know, there's a guy named Mike Malloy on our show who was able to drink more than any other person in arguably the history of alcohol.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'd maybe want to go have a drink with him.
Oh, is he dead?
He died. I mean, yeah, he died in probably the 18. I mean, but they try. It was essentially he could drink more than anyone, and it was during Prohibition. So you know, you had to go into speakeasies or whatever, and he had this little spot he would go to, and then they eventually decided that he would be the perfect rube for them to kill and get insurance money from. So they were like, well, we'll just kill him with alcohol. So they just tried to like get him to drink himself to death. He wouldn't. Wow. So then they tried wood grain alcohol. He drank that like it was regular. Then they started feeding him like shrapnel and sandwiches and he'd eat that. Then they would like leave him on a park bench and pour water on him in the cold of night, and he'd come back 2 days later and be like, hey, wait, I got a thirst. And then they tried to kill him by hitting him with a car. And then eventually they killed him with gas.
Fifth time's a charm. On
Like
these things.
8th time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's funny that you talk about like attempting assassinations because I feel like our history, we were a lot more like in the olden days, we were a lot more braver and successful.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're not really. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the truth is that you used to be able to tell a lot easier when your rights were getting taken away. It was probably harder to get them back.
Right.
But it was just, you know, people knew what was going on. People had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So if they were trying to fuck with you in any way, you'd just be like, to the streets. I mean, it's kind of still like that in some countries now where it's small enough and insulated enough where like word spreads and people know it's bullshit and everybody's motivated enough at the same time to get out. I think our activism has turned into phone activism,
Yeah.
and it feels like it scratches the same part of our brain, but the impact is, not at all noticeable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on right now where I mean, like, what is it going to take for people to like lose their shit, you know? And it just doesn't seem to happen.
Another interesting thing about you, which I very admire because I'm actually starting to do it. Like, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I'm 16 days sober of not having a soda.
Hamburgers.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Oh,
and
that's
tough.
you said in a different podcast that you've been a couple of years, if not.
Yeah, I haven't had soda in a long time.
Yeah,
terrible
so like
stuff.
that's pretty. Like, people
Yeah.
don't realize how unhealthy it really is.
Both diet and regular.
and
I mean,
the
both
spar-
are very.
The
Both,
diet is
the diet is diet can actually be worse for you.
Spartame.
Yeah, because of spartamine and because of
It's like,
in general. I mean, like it really is. It's like, well, what would you rather? Would you rather? It's kind of like the vaping versus cigarettes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's like, would you rather have cigarettes? You know what they do to you, or would you rather have what's behind door number 2, where we don't really know? Aspartame and all that stuff in diet soda is very bad. And I used to, when I would like stop drinking for periods of time, something that for a while that made me that I was like, this is great, was Diet Coke. And I would just like drink a ton of Diet Coke, love Diet Coke with ice. It was great. And then, I think slowly as years go on, you kind of like self-evaluate and you're just sort of like, well, this is a stupid thing I do that I don't think I need anyone to tell me to stop. And,
right, yeah.
And soda was one of those where I was just, and the truth is I replaced it for a while with sparkling water. And that eventually I loved more. But then eventually I quit that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've replaced it with tea and sparkling water.
Yeah, it's great.
Tea's probably not as great. Like it's probably
but I
just
mean,
as bad.
compared to what kind of tea are you using?
Just like regular unsweetened tea, and then sweeten it up.
That's not as bad. I mean, I think if it's helping you quit soda, then you keep doing that until you feel better, and then change it.
It's kind of like if you're trying to quit heroin, you got to stop heroin and do cocaine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is I'm actually in the process of doing right now. And let me tell you, it's a fun stop.
Must be.
I'm having a hell of a time. Alan, I say at the club.
Sure, I'm a huge.
You sold me the shit.
It's just coming out of my nose right now.
Yeah, I know. I can see. It looked like a mustache. It's just a white Sanchez, as we call it.
White Sanchez. I like that. Got to get more dye in my.
So I guess my question is like, you might not even remember, but how long did it take you to think, okay, I don't need this in my life anymore?
Well, you mean before I stopped it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think in general it is, my diet is crazy anyway, so it's just one of those things where as you kind of start to refine, what you put in your body more and more, you do kind of just sort of like when I used to paint houses, like you'd paint a wall and then you could actually see what you needed to paint. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like when you stop doing a lot of shit, then you can kind of go, well, this doesn't make sense anymore. And it didn't take too long for me to just be like, soda is not water. Water is much better for you.
Right.
Has no water in it, really.
Yeah. I don't like water, though.
Yeah, that's my brothers. My brothers and I argue all the time because he's like, I hate the taste of water. And I'm like,
tasteless. It doesn't...
Yeah, so you found a third faction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, water is not the greatest thing to drink, but what I did for the soda was I would do sparkling water with a little lime in it. That got me going for ages.
Me too.
And then eventually I just went regular water with lime, and then eventually just cut the lime.
You like how he said "me too"? Like it was some trending thing.
Yeah, he follows the me diet. By the way, you missed the bit when I walked in. When I walked in with 2 people who work in the building.
Oh, really?
And Alan goes up to the guy and he goes, Gareth, it's such an honor. It's a pleasure. And the guy's just standing there like, what the hell? And I was like, is this for real? Alan was just doing immediate lobby bits.
That's right.
That's Alan.
That's Alan.
I wanted to show him I got it.
Yeah. You did. You stepped up.
He's got the chops.
He's got the chops. That's what I say.
That's why he's
How did we changing to? Do you want to change topics?
No, you
want to
change
go on
topics
with history.
You got a question?
No,
Is this written on a CVS receipt?
No. Oh no.
Oh,
How
okay.
did you know that? Oh no,
it's written on his heroin receipt.
Yeah,
it's McDonald's.
This looks like a guy who's trying to get his wife take him back after a weekend in Vegas. Hey, baby, I wrote a note on the car ride. I love you so much.
I know. I've done that. That was Super Bowl. I'm not a huge football fan.
Sure.
But, because I live in the hood, I like Inglewood, and they have a Rams. We're building a Rams
Yep.
stadium there.
Yep.
And I saw the Rams last night. I fell in love with them.
Okay.
I love the quarterback, and not in a sexual
Is
way.
this part of the question?
Yeah. Well, it is.
It'd be great if this was on. He just talked about the Rams. For 5 minutes.
Check this for material. I'm throwing at our guests here. The Super Bowl, the entertainment, the halftime entertainment.
Yep.
I found Shakira and J-Lo, who's 50 freaking years old, man. She's jumping around. I was in shock.
She doesn't drink soda.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Yeah.
But didn't you find it kind of sexually was like odd to me? Because it was a little bit redundant with the booty. I have nothing against.
What do you mean redundant? You mean their booties were redundant, or you found this performance redundant to previous booty halftimes?
That second one.
You feel like this is reminiscent of we've seen this.
Yeah. Not that I wouldn't see it again.
Right.
But I like exciting Vegas entertainment at the halftime, and I wanted it to be choreographed. It was more originality. But booty is it. I mean, I guess you can just do so much with it. But I was having fantasies. I was choreographing this thing.
When you make a pilot, when you make a pilot, there are certain things they say you should put in it to help test it.
Okay.
One is an animal.
Okay.
I think another is dancing. And so I think you're not wrong, but I still think when you think of most people watching it, what are they going to think when they just see two asses shaking a lot? They're going to, I really like that. I really thought that was a good
they
show.
just went safe. They played it safe.
I think they played it safe by
just
playing it a
reaching.
little
I
provocative.
was just reaching. It was a fantasy. I was choreographing this.
It was. I thought it was pretty good
I
for a
liked it.
halftime.
I liked
and not that I ever give a shit about the halftime.
And not that much, but it's
for the
three
most
times,
part. Yeah.
You're drinking, you're having cheese and
You have
beer.
you're pouring cheese
you
and
say,
beer
"Hey, come
all
on,
over
let's-"
yourself.
I could have done this.
Yeah.
You
Your
know,
wife dumped you. You're writing your take me back note.
So, Alan, was your question that took 5 minutes to ask, Garrett?
Well, it's.
Do you like booties?
Well,
And the answer is yes.
Of course,
The answer is yes.
I clarified.
I
that
do.
We like booties. Let's just make it more original. Put that creative energy in. Try something.
He doesn't want dresses on the booties.
That,
Let's go. Let's swing for the fences, girls.
Maybe that's what
Naked
it was
asses.
That's
Yeah.
what was missing.
Yeah, we need to Janet Jackson those booties.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. She was interesting. She did the boobs as opposed
She didn't do well. We still don't
Did
really
it fall
know.
out?
No, Justin Timberlake ripped a
Oh, yeah, I've
piece
got
of
it. I've got
fabric
it.
off.
Yeah.
Oh, I
got the-
remember
That he
that.
wasn't supposed
I got
to,
the
or who the
narrative
hell
wrong.
knows what the hell it was.
That happened when I was like 8 or something.
Yeah, but if he wasn't supposed to, then why was it
Well, you
rippable?
just-
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, you were an innocent
But
kid.
whatever, Janet Jackson, who cares? Let
Yeah.
it pass.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we covered the Super Bowl. I don't mess around.
Yeah, that's right. You don't play games.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you're right for Arrested Development, which I gotta be honest, it's one of the best shows on television.
Love that
Yeah.
show.
And you're also a producer.
Yep.
So explain to the folks at home the difference between a writer and a producer.
That's a very good distinction because I do think even when I got involved in this, I wasn't really sure. Essentially, it comes down to experience and expectation. Everybody from staff writer to executive producer, for the most part, are writing on the show. So you're pretty much going to be in the room with the producer, the co-producer, the story editor, the staff writer, and the executive producer,
Right.
who's probably going to be running the show. And then you kind of go down the echelon of credits, and, people, I definitely think some people make more. It also has to do with experience level on the show and value added to the show. We went into Arrested Development as, I believe, co-producers, and then Mitch, because we worked a lot and he appreciated it, bumped us up to executive producers,
Okay.
which is the highest one. But we went in at, I think that's just one below. But so basically it just has to do with your years of experience. Like you get a job as a story editor on a show. Well, the next time you go out for a show, your people are going to try to get you a producer and then co-producer, and it kind of goes up like that. But essentially everybody's writing.
Right.
Everybody will write a script for the most part. You're all kind of conceiving it together. But the EPs and those producers are the highest producers.
All right.
But they're still writers.
So producing doesn't necessarily mean you're giving out money for the program.
Totally. Those
it
are more.
does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Those are more just straight up producers.
Okay.
So if Tom Cruise produces something,
Yeah.
he's probably not in getting in the nuts and bolts of the script. But what does he provide? Well, you're like Tom Cruise is a producer, and you give him a fee, and he does some help or potentially, helps in some capacity.
Right.
But for the most part, he comes on as a producer. A lot of people come on as a producer to sort of sweeten the pot when you're trying to sell stuff like that, because you got names and stuff like that. But the core producer is the executive producer. That's the person who's kind of overseeing everything. Even if there's a few of them, like on Arrested, it was Jim Valley is an executive producer, Mitch Hurwitz is an executive producer. It's definitely Mitch's world, but Jimmy is also someone you totally listen to, and then so those are kind of the heads of the program.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is because Alan's the biggest Jason Bateman fan. And he's like, hey, since you produced the show, you're his boss. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works.
I will say that dude is that's a very great person. So you've picked
Thank
well.
you.
Alan.
I've good taste.
He's got good taste.
You got great taste. He's an awesome guy.
Googling Jason Bateman.
Who is Bateman?
Who is it?
Oh, The Dark Knight. I know this guy. Oh, sorry, I forgot the E.
And I'm a Batman fan.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Huge fan.
Yeah.
I've got the 10 games.
But yeah, that's the distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's David Cross? Cross is awesome, isn't he?
He's great. Unfortunately, I didn't have too much interaction with them. We were writing it while the show was being shot, which is kind of a crazy situation. And so I didn't really see him much. Over the years, I've seen him a number of times, and he's what you would expect. He's a very funny, cool dude. Yeah.
He's one of my heroes, and he actually did this show. He did a phone interview because he was like,
that's great.
Oh, yeah, it was tough for me.
Was it?
Oh, I'm terrible at phone interviews because I read people's energy, because I don't see social cues very well.
Yeah.
So I read energy.
Right.
And on a phone, and then this fucker calls out sick, so it's by myself. And I'm like, oh God, I'm embarrassing myself in front of one of my heroes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was totally one of my heroes growing up. Mr. Show, when I was in high school, was like kind of just warped my mind in a way that will never be repaired and is still how I view comedy in a way.
I felt like Bill Burr when I was interviewing him. I was like, all right, 43 more minutes.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've been there. I've been many shows where in my head I'm like, just 40 away.
Yeah. Who's the toughest person you've ever interviewed?
I don't really interview people.
Really? You've had like 5 podcasts or so.
I have 2. I had 2 podcasts. Now I just really have one. And it's the Dollop. I mean, I did a podcast years ago where we would interview people, but I was kind of not the main part. So I had like the Allen. It was just like I'm open in the corner for threes. That's what that's what my role was.
I love it.
I was like, feed me the ball.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I've never really had to interview anyone. I mean, I've been like around. I mean, the first time one time I hung out with David Cross and John Benjamin, and I was like, holy shit, these 2 dudes are amazing. So it's intimidating.
Well, good thing you didn't ask for a phone interview.
Yeah, David, can we do a phoner? Alan will be there.
I'll be there.
He's not sick anymore.
On the other line.
Yeah. Oh God, he's sick again. This son of a bitch.
And then he calls me after the interview. He's like, I feel better.
I did.
Right after?
Yeah.
All right, what time's the interview? Alan's back, baby.
I was like, yeah, you fucker.
I'll never hear the interview.
You just hear a crumpling of paper. I got a couple questions.
Yeah. I can't find this week's heroin guy receipt.
Yeah.
But who's your favorite Miami Heat player?
Oh God. Well, I don't like the Miami Heat.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see that online?
I heard someone who loved Miami.
That
Heat.
is amazing. Because that. Okay, so
tell us the story because there's stuff about you on the internet that's obviously not true.
The long story short is that when LeBron James was in Miami and they put together the super team and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade had they've won 10 championships press conference before the season had started. I, like most people, were like, screw this team. I hate this team. And so I would just go I would tweet or say whatever about how bullshit I thought the team was. And a friend of mine named Dan Levy, who's also a comedian, he just started texting me, good luck to the Heat tonight, man. I know you like them. And then that turned into a group text. And then that slowly turned into online stuff where Dan would post stuff about, like, this is the biggest Heat fan I know. Everybody mentioned, and I go, I don't like them. And I kept saying I don't like them. And it kind of culminated. This went on for literally since that super team was formed.
And today, because I thought
today,
you were a Heat fan.
But about a year and a half ago, a friend of mine named Payman, who's a director, texted me and said he wanted to meet with my writing partner and I at this place downtown because he thought he got money for this thing we'd been wanting to shoot for years. And so we were like, okay, great. So I go in, Payman's texting me like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm supposed to meet him at 6. It's like 6:02. I'm like, it's cool. I will be there. Chill out. I walk into the place, and as Payman meets me at the door, and as Payman's walking me to wherever Evan is, my writing partner, out jumps like 5 other dudes, and they've got a Miami Heat jersey for me. They also pretended I was O.J. Simpson for years, so that evolved into that, and Donald Trump. So eventually they're going, dude, O.J., you shouldn't have killed her, and I'm going, I'm not O.J. And they're going, how about O.J. Trump? And I'm going, I'm not Trump, And so they had a Miami Heat jersey for me that said, I think it said O.J. Trump on the back, and they were taking me to the Staples Center to watch the Lakers play the Heat, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. And so it's just been ongoing for years. I'm going to text Dan after this and tell him that you asked that, and he will jump through the roof with elation.
Oh, that's funny.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's probably one of the best pranks ever. Then,
and it will not. Still to this day,
I totally thought you were a fan.
Once every 10 days, someone will go, Heat looking strong, Gareth. Congrats. And I'll go, I don't like them, and then they Photoshop shit. It's never ending. It's like six friends of mine.
Well, here's what you do next time you get asked this, so you're prepared.
Yeah.
All right. You say Eddie Jones.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Because he's a respectable player.
Yeah.
He worked hard.
I do respect, like, the Heat as really good team.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that too much, though. I mean, fuck, I'm sorry. Yeah, what have I done?
Ever since they won championships, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's another thing, like, I love comedy so much because, like, I tend to laugh at my own jokes, and everyone's like, you shouldn't do that. It's like, I think it's funny, you know?
I honestly think if you genuinely are laughing at your own, I think audiences like that. What becomes a crutch sometimes is laughing along with the audience. I mean, because if you've said it like
10 times,
I mean 1,000. Let's be real. You
Oh,
know,
in the same show?
no. It's just like over the years of
Quite a
saying
set.
like there's material of mine where I'm like I'll bet you I'll never laugh at this stuff again.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because I've done it so much.
Ah.
Like there's stuff, and now like when you're hammering an album, like by the end you are like this is no longer for me. I'm a vehicle for the words that I once wrote, but it is now for others totally not me any longer.
Oh, see, I have like a weird sense of humor because like when I listen to other interviews, you know, to prepare for this, you know, and I tend to think of funny jokes of stuff that won't happen. Like you were talking how Steve Burns said you could live with this place, and then his brother called. Yeah. In my head, I was thinking, what if Steve said, "So you gotta share the couch with my brother"?
You know what? That probably would have been. I'm surprised he didn't offer that. That dude's so nice that I'm shocked that would not have been offered. But yes, I get what you're saying.
So like that's just how my mind works.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just think it's just so funny.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Steve Byrne did the show, and Alan Lee called out on that one.
Jesus, I'm honored.
Thank you.
It's nice that you shut up for one, Alan.
Thank you.
Yeah, that Steve Byrne is like, truly like one of the best dudes in stand-up.
Yeah,
he's wonderful.
I think he should, like, honestly, like, not to suck up, but I think he should be on the late night show.
Yeah,
you know, he has that that charisma.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
You got any more questions on your heroin receipt?
You know, I do in fact.
Yeah. What if he just started reading a coupon? You know, we can get antacids for $2. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong side. I have
an envelope.
Oh, that's good too.
This is a bill I didn't pay.
Well, it is empty.
Yeah, it is. I didn't pay.
You should have sent that in empty.
It's an
Oh, I forgot. I bet that would actually work pretty well.
Yeah.
If you just send it, if you just on your like pink bills, just send back the return envelope with a stamp and nothing else. I bet they're like, sir, and you go, oh.
I may do that.
I bought myself another 3 weeks on accident.
I actually have a question while Alan's trying to bullshit a question.
That's not nice. That's not a very serious question.
It's not nice. I have to get tomatoes later. It's right here. Right here.
Like what? I mean, obviously you can't tell all your secrets, but what are some successful tips to make a podcast more successful in your experience?
I think,
like for this show, how do we make it? You know,
well, I think you're doing what you can. I mean, my advice was going to be, you know, have on people who are famous. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
That helps anything. Yeah, you know that like for our shows, you know, where we had like when we first had Patton on, when we first had Will Anderson on, that just exposes you to a new audience.
To their audience.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And get a heroin guy.
And you get a heroin guy. Yeah.
Alan's working on that.
I believe Alan's worked on that.
He's like,
I believe Alan's closed the deal. If you catch my drift.
Well, you know, I have a little note just as a topic with the improv and everything. Mm-hmm. All comics talk to themselves. That is the real improv skill set.
I think that's true. I certainly talk to myself. Yeah,
See?
I talk to myself. Even if you're not talking to yourself out loud, you're talking to yourself. I mean, that's what when you're alone with your mind is.
I like that.
Sometimes just won't shut the fuck up.
It won't.
Yeah, mine won't.
It won't.
Mine picks nice times to go crazy. Mine will do the thing where, like everybody, where you wake up at 3 a.m. and then my mind goes, you know what you should do instead of that? I go, not now. I go, we'll talk in the morning. And he goes, no, I'm up, buddy. You know what we should do? I'm like, am I going to have to write something down? Oh, yeah, you got to write something down.
Yeah.
Now I'm up.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then you can't go to sleep.
No, then you can't. And then you smoke some weed to try to go to sleep, and then you're like, now it's just 3:30 a.m. and I'm high as shit. This is not ideal.
And does the voice ever say, you know what, the idea's not that good?
You know what, I'm drunk. Where have you been? I've been at the bar drinking. What the fuck you mean drinking? Kathy left. I wrote a Dear John on my CVS receipt, but she's never
She's
responded.
gone.
She
It's
won't
right
be.
here on the receipt.
Right here.
$9.95.
So this is a serious question. You've probably never been asked this one.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know how you like to, if you like the ladies or if you like the gentlemen.
Sure.
And the choice is
my
yours.
God.
Thank you.
But
That's not on my list.
Yeah.
thanks,
Neither?
Al.
No, I mean,
But-
that question's not on my list. No,
If your
I'm hetero.
significant other had a superpower, what would you want them to have?
Ooh. Wow, you got to be selfish about that. Because,
Yeah.
like, what I would want,
Like you say you're dating an X-Man or an X-woman or something.
a flight.
Flight. Okay.
Flight would be key because flight to anything to spare myself airports
Right.
would be fantastic.
That's a good gift.
That would be a dream.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So like my super X significant other.
Yes,
All right.
that's what I would want.
Nice.
The
What,
gift.
what
the
about
ability to
you,
fly.
Alan? How would you like your fellas
No, I
or ladies?
I said the question is
Oh,
not
oh.
the. No, I am hetero.
Well, you got to answer it.
Heterosexual.
No, not
I
that.
swear to
question.
God.
No, we
The
were-
superpower.
Oh, the
Question.
super. Excuse me. I see, you scared me.
Alan, heterosexual, non-X-Men. No, Alan, you've missed
You missed the point.
No, I wouldn't mind invisibility.
for your. Yeah, I guess.
No, I thought for me. I didn't.
No, for your significant others. Because
Yeah.
I would say that for me.
No.
It's not
But
that
then for a
fun. I've
significant
had that.
other, I would be like, that's crazy. I would just be like, Deb,
No.
are you in the room?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
You could never get away with shit.
I screwed that.
I would not have that.
Well, time to wake up.
that's the alarm for 5-minute warning.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Well, I'd have to agree with flight because I
Flight.
can't fire X-ray vision. What I know. It
Yeah,
had to be
X-ray's no
flight.
good.
It's flight.
You got to think it's for a significant other.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what's a
flight.
well-framed
Flight.
question.
Flight.
I would say like a shapeshifter, like Mystique or something.
But then aren't you
that's
worried? This is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm thinking in my head.
Too kinky.
I'm thinking, let's say we're in an argument.
Right. And then I would say turn into John Cusack.
Yes, but then she
that's
goes.
weird. It's-
But then she, you're at a bar, you're talking to your buddy. Oh, this sucks. Then this girl comes over. Hey,
And
how
I'd say
you
turn
doing?
into Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, but this you don't know it's her.
You don't know what's
I don't care.
It's not a genie lamp.
Oh,
This is her power.
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
You're not for you've got to be pro female ex-woman empowerment.
That's right.
Wait, is that bad?
Well, I verified that. See, goes back
You don't
to
want to get caught in this movement. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why I verified hetero.
Yeah.
I knew it could happen.
Alan came out. Okay, Alan's so
But
hetero.
she could also do flight.
Alan's so hetero. We weren't asking what he was. A hetero.
All right, Gareth, where can the folks follow you at home?
You can follow me at Reynolds Gareth on Instagram and Twitter, and then you can go to my website, GarethReynolds.com, where you can buy my album, find tour dates, and then go to dolloppodcast.com to find out Dollop tour dates.
I'm going to mention your tour dates one more time.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This weekend, we'll have this up by tonight, so it could help those.
Yep.
This weekend, February 7th through Sunday, February 9th, they're going to be at the Irvine Improv.
Damn right.
Right? Maybe
Little,
Alan Lee will show up and be like, hey,
Yeah, cool. I look forward to that.
Yes, I'll be there.
I interviewed you.
Hey, it's me from before. All right, you don't need, get your hand off me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Goddamn hand off me.
I'm sorry. Gary. I'm sorry.
And then you got Dolly Pop.
Dollop, yep.
Dollop shows as well, which I didn't write down, but the ones that you are doing individually, Thursday, February 27th through March 1st at Rooster Tea Feathers.
Yep.
That'll be fun. Maybe Alan will show
No,
up.
I'll be
Yeah,
there.
Alan, you'll be
I'm
there.
writing it down on the sheet.
Alan is Rooster.
I did.
I'm getting you some guest spot work.
Yeah,
appreciate it. I
he's
need
got
it.
his jokes right now.
I need it. The Tribal Cafe downtown. It's a hard open mic.
And then April 24th through April 26th, you'll be at the Denver Improv.
Yep.
There.
And the folks can follow you on your website,
Nice.
GarethReynolds.com.
Yep. I'll definitely be in North Carolina before then. There's some other places too, but I don't.
Beautiful.
It's not on my website for some reason. So we'll figure that out.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Well, Gareth, I love you very much.
Thank
man.
you,
love
sir.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
Wow.
I love you guys.
It's a hoot.
Thank
So,
you.
And your professional podcast experience with all the interviews you've done, how is this one?
This is the best thing I've ever been a
Oh,
part of.
Oh, my God.
This is the best
There
thing
we
I've
go.
ever been a
Everybody
part
heard
of.
that.
Tom Cruise wants to come on as a producer.
Oh my God!
That's how well this went.
Come on down.
Yeah.
let me just text Bateman.
Yeah. Don't let Alan text him.
No.
Bateman does not want Alan near him.
You
He's
want to
got
do
very
a
low
phone
Jason.
interview?
Hey, Alan can't make it.
No, I
Want to
can't.
do a phoner?
I won't be there.
Hello?
I
Alan had some bad shellfish.
I won't
You
be
could
a
really
West- no,
screw with
it's a
Keith. He has
West-
Asperger's.
Yeah.
Wisconsin cheese
Yeah.
and the beer. I can't make it. The curse.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, subscribe, rate, and review the show, and come see me Saturday, February 15th with Jay Moore at the Hollywood Improv, and then Irvine Improv, April 21st.
Sell it out.
Sell it out, baby. Subscribe, rate, and review, and follow us on social media. Gareth, thanks again, pal.
Thank you. Lovely.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.